In terms of the spreadsheet, the only other thing that really remains to be done is just looking over the spreadsheet. Uh, let's go to our directions. And we want to format the cells in B3 to D4 to be horizontally centered. You do that by clicking on B4. Make sure that your cursor looks like an arrow. Make sure it's not pointed here. Uh, it should be pointed in the middle. You drag that down. You make sure you're on the home screen. And you pick these two buttons right here to horizontally and vertically center the items there. Um, the other thing that you have to do is to upload and open up the write up file, start completing the sentences. So, if I remember correctly, we had that file available right here. So, in completing Excel Lab 1, for instance, I learned, let's say my answer is how to set up a spreadsheet. I applied these skills in managerial accounting. Um, Safety ratios, for instance, measure how safe a company is from going bankrupt. They compare what a company owes its liabilities to what it owes. In looking at the current ratio on the safety spreadsheet, I noticed that Natalie has about amount. So let's look at the spreadsheet, for instance. And if I look at the current ratio, she has $1.50 for every dollar that she owes. So I'm going to go back to this and put in $1.50. And okay, and I'm going to write a similar sentence for the other two companies. So I could copy that sentence, Control C to copy. I'm going to paste it in here. All right. Control V to paste. I noticed that the second company, the second company is Lucy's company, has 50 cents. Okay. Lucy's company has about 50 cents, an asset for every dollar. And I would do the same thing for Geraldine's company. Notice I would do the same thing for this sentence right here. Now, the focus of this class is not only to teach you Excel fundamentals, but to show you how you use data to make decisions. That's why we have this paragraph down here. And what you would do is look at this paragraph and answer it based on the sentences that you wrote here. Okay. You would have to write a third sentence for Geraldine's company. Okay. And you would have to finish this part of the write up in order to answer this. But once you finish the write up, basically, this is what you have going for you. You go back to the spreadsheet. Now, basically speaking, before you submit anything, you always check it out for spelling errors. Okay? To do that, put it in cell A1, go to review, go to spelling. And if the spell check says that it's complete, it means it probably even memorized your name. If it finds anything that it doesn't recognize the spelling of, it will show up in this panel. It'll give you the opportunity to check it over and correct it. If it's correct, you might tell it to ignore it. You then close out the panel by closing out that button. You don't have to worry about saving the spreadsheet again because it gets saved automatically. And so you have your write up, you have your spreadsheet. Then what you need to do, and the directions will tell you, is um, sometimes the instructor may want you to display the formula view of the spreadsheet. Now, this particular version of Excel doesn't allow you to do that. If you're working on a desktop version of Excel, you hold down the control key and you press the tilde key. So it's control tilde, and it's right below, the tilde key is located right below the escape key on your keyboard, and that would get you the formula printout. Last thing, you save the spreadsheet again, which you don't have to do, but you do have to print it out as a PDF to your instructor. To do that on Excel, on this version of Excel, go to File, go to Print. Show a print-friendly view. Here, it's usually the active sheet that I'll have you print out. You could pick Portrait so that the paper is held right side up, or Landscape so that the paper is held sideways. I usually like the scaling, if this is available, I usually like all the columns to fit on one page, unless I tell you otherwise. You then continue, and it'll say open up a printable view of that spreadsheet. This is what it looks like. Now, sometimes you might have another printer set up over here. If that's the case, make sure you save it as PDF. You then click the Save button. Pick a place on your computer you know you're not going to forget. It'll give you some type of file name that I'm not fond of. So you'll notice that there are no spaces in the file name. Sometimes people choose to do that. I'm going to choose to call this spreadsheet Safety Ratios. And I usually put my first name and last name. I then click Save. Going back to my directions, I now have to upload everything. Here's how I do it. I may want to open up a new Excel screen, a new browser screen, and go to Blackboard. Go into Blackboard. Remember, go to my class again. In this case, it's a template class. So I click on that class. Again, on my labs, I go here. And now I'm ready to submit my work. All right. Click where it says 2020 Excel Lab 1. Assignment submission, you can write your submission. Now, instead of writing it, you're not going to write it. You're going to take the paragraphs that you have in your write-up. Once you've done all this, you pick everything by pressing Control A. Let's say all your answers are there. You've done the entire thing for both this exercise and the practice exercise that comes after this. Control C to copy. Go back to Blackboard. Click inside the right submission box. Control V to paste it in. And then you browse your computer for that PDF file. I loaded, remember, you have to go to the right folder, and there's my safety ratios. I open it up. And again, you would have a second file that you would then attach to this. So I don't click submit yet. When I've completely finished doing everything, um, let's look at the exercise one more time. Now remember, everything that you learned here, you're now going to have another spreadsheet to create. And that one, very similar to this one, you're going to put productivity ratios for the three companies in cell A1. So you're going to use all the skills that you learned to do the development exercise. And when you're finished, you're going to call it productivity ratios. Again, all similar steps. You're going to print it out as a PDF. You're then going to be in a position to answer this particular paragraph by looking at the ratios there. All right. And when you've done everything, you submit everything. Um, Also, you go back to Blackboard, browse your computer, and you look for that second file, which would then be called productivity ratios, your first and last name, and you submit that, and it gets submitted as one package. The way it works is your write up is worth up to 10 points. The first file that you have is worth 20, uh, 10 points, so that's 20. And the third file, productivity ratios in this case, would be worth the third 10 points, and that would get you 30 points for the entire submission. And that would be a maximum of 30 points. So I hope you got something out of this part of the demo. Thank you.